Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Nice to meet you, Debbie Skinner, Kelly's Landing. Nice to meet you also, Joe.
So, Debbie, what made you decide to open your own business?
Well, owning my own business was something I always wanted as a child. My family had businesses of their own, and I felt that owning my own would give me more opportunity to be myself. And that's kind of where I started. I had inspired by some other bosses of my own, previous jobs that said, you know, I would do well at opening my own restaurant, and I took it on. So that's where it kind of started from.
And why did you choose this type of business?
Once again, that's part of my family business. We were in the restaurant business since my great-grandparents. My great-great-grandparents actually owned a place up in New Jersey. I chose that. I think that's mostly for that reason.
What were your startup costs?
Well, this restaurant that I purchased here was already in business, and I had worked here as a waitress for many years, and bought a percentage of it from the previous owners. And as they moved on to another location, they offered me the business. So it was already in business, so I purchased the business from them for $300,000, and that's exactly, it was already furnished. You know, a somewhat of established business. Had been open for about 15 years at the time, I guess. And then I bought the other owners out, so that's what it was.
And where did you get your capital to do this?
Well, I saved a little bit. I put a lien on my house as part of it, though, and the other part was from a loan from the bank, basically.
Okay. And how did you select the location?
Well, once again, this restaurant had already been here, so my objective was to build the business, and you know, with what I had started with. The previous owners found this location. It was a pizza place that had gone out of business, and felt that this was a nice neighborhood to put a little seafood restaurant in. So that's where it started.
What demographics do you mainly target?
Well, we try to target the neighborhoods. You know, is the main thing, and then of course we have a lot of cruise ships coming in, but mostly it's our neighborhoods. We always advertise a little bit in our local churches and things like that. For basically Broward County is our demographic part, I guess, but they go pretty far. People come from Miami to eat at Kelly's Landing. Yeah.
What were the major challenges you faced?
I think the major thing was getting the loan. Getting the capita was probably the first part that started it, but once we got through that, it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of hard work. It's you know, that you face. You know, it's a day on day, and you do it every day. It's not something you don't go home and go to sleep at night. You continue to work on it a bit until it does come along, and you know. But as far as challenges in that respect, we have, you know, always had good products, so. I believe in starting with a good product, we'll end up with a good product. You don't have to, so the challenges of facing with them this hasn't been so bad.
How do you address your competition?
I get to know my neighbors. I guess that's how it is. Our competition with the seafood, I guess with that, you know, knowing people, what they're doing around you, trying to keep up with what everybody else is doing is usually a good thing, I believe. It never hurts to try your neighbor's other food, you know, to see what they're serving, and you don't have to take anything from them, but you know, kind of go in the same direction so everybody's all in the same boat there.
How has the business changed over the period of your ownership?
How's it? Well, let's see. We have doubled our business here since I've taken over, and that is because we have put in specials, and we paid a little more attention than the previous owners, and that's really part of owning a restaurant. You really have to be there, or most, I wouldn't say just a restaurant, but a business in general. The more time you spend, the more your employees will respect you and respect the business themselves, I believe. So we've doubled the business by adding changing the menu a little bit, and putting out the specials that we do, the twin lobster specials, you know, the king crab specials, daily specials, and fresh ingredients in all our food.
Where do you see the business in 5 years?
Well, we're in a growing area, Fort Lauderdale, and we're close to the cruise ships, so it just seems to be increasing more and more because of that. There's a lot of people in the neighborhood, and if we can target them a little bit ourselves and share it with everybody else, because there's plenty of competition around, but there's always plenty for you to go around as long as you have a good, consistent product. So,
how many hours a week do you work?
well, that depends. Some weeks I could do 80 to 100, you know, but that's not very often anymore. But you know, it just depends. Like, you know, if we have a catering going on, you know, I try to keep it around 40, you know, but of course in this business there's a lot of hours after hours at home. So if you want to consider that, it's probably about an average 60 to 70 hours a week, I would say, you know, that I really work, you know, whether it's here or there or at a catering, you know, or at a function or something. So.
What is your hiring and training process?
Okay. Let's see. We have a training program when it comes to servers. That you have to know the complete menu and all the items on the menu before you are started. You go on the floor. It's usually about a 1 to 2 week prep period, depending on how quickly the employee will learn, and depending on what department they're going into. Cooking, we usually take at least a 2 week period before we leave them alone. And for hiring, I usually would do a reference check for, you know, a couple people, and sometimes I go by just, you know, feelings, I guess, and that's what, you know, so you start with that, and you always give them a couple week period before we, you know, a couple of weeks evaluation before we can say you're going to make it or not, and after that, it's a 3 month period in case if they mess up or not, but that's our policy at this point.
What is your marketing strategy?
Okay, so for marketing strategy is mainly we do PR work ourselves, my husband and I. We do a lot of PR and a lot of donating. We donate to a lot of, like today we're doing one for the school, in the local newspapers, for the neighborhood newspapers, we put our names out there. And then we usually choose one major magazine a year and put our name out there in that. And then we also do a lot of functions around town, such as the St. Patrick's Day Parade. We put a float in. We do mainly all of our marketing ourselves. We do have an email list that we have everybody signed up to, that we have almost 2,000 names on now. And that's pretty much what we do. Our marketing is basically with us. We do it ourselves pretty much. And, you know, every now and then spend a little bit on advertising in different magazines or something.
How do you address environmental issues? Are you eco-friendly?
That is something we've been trying to do. We started to do some recycling, but they don't really have recycling or anything for restaurants too well. We do recycle all of our cardboard, but as far as eco-friendly, I could say we should be up on it a little better than we are. And we have called the city, maybe trying to get a recycling bin for bottles and things like that, and it's not something they do here in the city of Fort Lauderdale for restaurants yet. Taking the initiative, we're trying. I think, I tried a few years ago, got a hold of somebody, and then they never fall. So it's something that we will do in the future.
Looking back, what mistakes did you make, and what did you learn from that?
Every mistake you learn from, and in the restaurant business, it's you can make them on a daily basis, and usually they're just a simple task that maybe not handling the situation properly, and you learn from that. And I couldn't tell you exactly like what happened, but maybe somebody got the wrong food or something. That's as simple. We usually don't have any major mistakes in the restaurant business in that respect. I do think that hiring and firing is something that you really have to keep an eye on in these days. You really have to look into more references rather than just taking people's words for things sometimes. But as far as mistakes are concerned, I think we've done pretty well here. I personally, like I said, I don't want to say mistakes. I don't know. Learning every day. We learn every day. It's never done. You can never know everything in this business. So every day you probably won't make. You may not make a mistake every day, but you'll learn something each day. So.
What advice would you give someone who's thinking of opening their own business?
Okay. I would say to go for it. Put all your heart and soul into it is a major thing. Do as much research as you can about where it is and what it is about, and make sure you love it. And if you love it, it will succeed. And that's my answer. All right.
Thank you so much for
My pleasure. No problem.
Wish you all the best.
All right. Thanks a lot, Joe.
Thank you.
Audio Jungle.